pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger roll with Atlantis.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight outside SC off. Bring in SC off. Off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.
Hello, 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 my favorite spaceflight nerds. How is everyone doing on this fine August day? I'm seeing some 5x5s. Oh, a 4x4 in chat. Oh, is that because I'm a robot? We had that conversation on social media earlier today, but seeing all the 5x5s in chat, everyone knows what to do. Love you all to pieces for that. I am Chris Gebhardt, the assistant managing editor for NASA Spaceflight. And we are here because, well, Booster 7 and Ship 24 are undergoing some testing campaigns out in Starbase today, and we have activity at the suborbital farm. So we are live to take you through some of the exciting testing that's coming up here as SpaceX continues to march toward the first orbital flight of its Starship system. Starship, of course, also part of the Artemis program as our lunar lander for the Artemis 3 flight. So very exciting to see this heavy lift vehicle going through its testing. And I am not alone, I promise you that. I am joined by the one and only Alex. Alex, how's it going today?
Well, hello everyone. I hope my voice is okay today, and also my internet connection. Somehow it's a little bit too bad today. Not sure why, but let's hope it sticks for the whole testing today. I really want to see this.
I think we all do. And also joining us on comms for this is the man, the myth, and the legend, the one and only NASA Spaceflight Actual, Chris Bergen. How you doing today?
What an introduction. Yeah, I'm doing all right. If you're in Starbase Live for the last 85 million hours, we've all been in there staring at these vehicles. And as soon as, like, 4 hours ago, we saw the first purging of the lines, we were spammed with, when commentary? Like, this is Starbase. You've got to be patient. But luckily, it looks like Ship 24 is going to go first.
Yeah, it does. And Alex, we've got some of our initial questions that are coming in. If you've got any questions for us, go ahead and tag us in chat at NASA Spaceflight, and that will definitely help us see your questions a bit easier there. But Alex, what are we sort of expecting here today, and what's our timeline for Ship 24 based on what we've seen so far?
Well, what we might see today might be less fiery than usual, but it could also entail a static fire test as well. But mainly that comes from the fact that we haven't seen any notice yet, but we have also seen static fire tests where, the notice have come really, really, really close to the T0 time. So we are not fully sure, but it seems like if you were to bet for a spin prime test, you will probably win. That's my bet. That's for Ship 24, by the way. We're also keeping an eye on Booster 7 and the orbital tank farm because it might also spool up and have another day of double testing. We'll see.
There we go. And for either of you, do we have any idea based on all the information that Adrian keeps track of for us in these countdowns as to Adrian, you were saying if you're a betting person and you're betting on spin prime, when might we see that test based on the activity we've got going on here?
Yes. So actually, as we were kind of getting prepared to go live, I went back and kind of checked the feeds and everything, and it appears that it went live around 5:22 p.m. Central, the recondenser. So just based on sort of the rough timeline, I'm no Adrian. I don't know like the spreadsheet. I don't have all the details that he can give us, but I do know a rough timeline. I believe it is about 35 to 40 minutes from recondenser activated to T0. So maybe at the top of the hour, we'll see. But probably that's another bet. Here today we're playing a little bit. Oh, hold up. I'm gonna stop there because there's engine chill right now.
There we
Ship
go.
24.
All right. An engine chill is a good indication not only that propellants have been loading, the frost rings are also a good indication of that as well. And you can see the
Yeah.
frost ring there forming on the bottom of the liquid oxygen tank, about halfway up the flaps there. But this is also a good indication that propellant is now flowing into the engines to cryogenically condition them for the test that is forthcoming with them. So yes, I mean, a
Yeah.
very exciting progress. So in the terms of the timeline, where might we be with this now?
I believe Adrian said it is about 13 minutes from engine chill vent, but I think he also said it could be sometime like 15 minutes. But again, I don't have all the details that he can give us. I believe he's a little bit busy today and probably asleep right now, to be honest. So
But
yeah,
that would put
but
us
that's
roughly
sort of the
around,
rough timeline.
yeah, so that would put us roughly around 5:57 to 6 p.m. local time is when we might expect this test, somewhere in there. But of course, it's a testing campaign,
Yeah.
so those times are subject to change and everything. But Chris, here's a good question overall from Steve. Do we ever think we'll see a full 33 engine static fire from Booster 7?
I think we will, even by default. I think we'll see them attempt that test alone, just as a static fire test, as part of the progression towards testing all 33 engines. But if you think about it, even if they decided not to, we will probably see that by default, because on launch day, on a fully integrated stack, they've got to go through a countdown. They've got to get all 33 engines up to full speed and then commit to launch. There's going to be scrubs. I'm pretty much convinced, like, I'm almost kind of convinced with SLS, but I don't want to jinx it, that they'll be abort the first time round, because they're going to get a lot of lessons learned from that first countdown for a launch campaign. So, yes, I do think there'll be a 33 engine static fire test, but if they decided not to, we'll probably get one by default on launch day when they scrub, when they fire up the 33 engines and decide 2 or 3 engines are up to speed.
Gotcha. Zatharis, thank you so much for the support, saying, should I do the spicy ramen for the test? Have at whatever you want to eat, man.
I will say something. I was even betting all of these previous streams. We have been getting this question like, will we ever see a 33 engine static fire test? I've been saying I've been expect more than one. It's like, it's a no-brainer. Now that you have the vehicles out there, and if it fires once, why not twice, or why not thrice, right? Just get as much data as you can to ensure a successful flight. I think that's probably the logical step, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, and another good question here that we're getting is, have we seen them test the engine startup sequence yet with autogenous pressurization?
Where was it? Hold up. I don't see the question.
Oh, it just popped up.
There you go.
Have we not seen an autogenous start on Starship? Yeah, have they tested autogenous startups yet on Starship?
Autogenous start test. I don't think is. Oh, hold up, because
Like, have
I
they?
believe.
Yeah, like I think what the
Yeah,
question is
go ahead.
asking is, have they ever lit the engines or gone through an engine test sequence where the liquid oxygen tank was pressurized with autogenous pressurization?
Yeah, they have tested that on the past, on booster 4, on booster 7, excuse me. They have tested that on the 20-second engine burn that they did a couple of weeks ago. But I was a little bit confused, because it kind of implies that the engines are started like autogenous start, but it's more like a pressurization system. You could start with a pressure on the tanks, and I believe Relativity's Terran 1 rocket does that, but I don't think Starship does that.
Gotcha.
It's bootstrapping, I think it's the term.
Yeah, I like this question from Matt Bates. It's sort of going into like the recovery options and things, asking, do we think a ship might float if it were dropped in in the ocean. And to that I can say, dropped gently, they would probably float because the Falcon 9s float and the tanks are pressurized and everything. Whether or not it could be reused would be a totally different question. After if it were to land in the ocean, which we hope they don't. But here's a great question for Chris. Bato's World is asking us, and thank you for the support too on this. Do we think that Artemis 3, the overall mission architecture, will be waiting on Lunar Starship, or will Lunar Starship be waiting on the Artemis 3, which I'm assuming is the Artemis 3 launch vehicle, the SLS and Orion?
That's a great question. That really is. That's wonderful. You know what? Honestly, I think that the way SpaceX will find a pace once they get past this initial test program and get Starship to an operational phase puts them in the favorite position there to be ready before Artemis 3 is ready. So from a standpoint of vehicle readiness, we know from Philip, who went round the Shoot Assembly Facility, he's seen the vehicles, he's seen the future SLS vehicles standing there waiting to go, but there's a lot more to them. And it's a different kind of methodology towards getting those vehicles ready for flight, as well as budgetary as well. Whereas SpaceX go on the pace of SpaceX. And they've also got the NASA money from the HLS contract. So it puts them in a very solid position, providing this testing goes well, providing they get to orbital, providing they then start doing regular, should we say, in inverted commas, regular flights with Starlink V2 launches. They've also got that Superbird contract to launch another Starship there. It adds more and more confidence towards the end goal of being able to send up multiple Starships, including refueling Starships, or refilling, as they like to call it, to be in a position to say, okay, NASA, we're ready to go. What's your schedule for Artemis 3? When do you need us? And they may say, give us a few more months yet. That's my feeling. It'll go. I'm probably being over optimistic about how Starship testing will go, because it will have bumps in the road. But honestly, everything that SpaceX has done in history points to them being able to quickly get over failures and find solutions to the problems and then make things work. So I do think they'll be ready in time. I think they'll be ready before.
Yeah, I mean, even with a setback at this point, the timelines still kind of align to that, right? Where there would be time to recover from things seen. Now, I just actually saw, I want to draw our attention to those vents, because they stopped and then they started again, and that usually means something in our countdown, right? It usually means we're getting close to whatever test we have when we see those vents start to pulse, or is that the booster? Because we've got two now.
Yeah, that was So that was before with the older ships. And on the booster, it is on the OLM vents that they have now for engine chill. If they start like fading out, that might mean a test is imminent, as in like within 20 seconds or so. Now here, the indication for that
they're going down again,
usually, yeah. It's usually a bit like that. They're pulsing, they go a little bit down. Right now they're obviously venting a lot, but here the actual indication is when the vents go upwards. And that usually means we're about 20 to 30 seconds from a test, whatever that test it is. And we believe it is because of a kind of vent. The kind of vent that they use for the engine chill has something at the bottom that basically makes them go up when they move that thing. It's a little bit complicated to explain with an actual picture of it, but yeah, it's just like an upward vent that occurs near or like 20 or 30 seconds before that event.
Sounds good. And before we get to that test and those upward vents, we're going to take a quick moment to swap around some of our commentators here. Chris, I think you've got some other stuff to do and probably sleep, since it's close to midnight.
I still got some
time.
more stuff to. I still got more stuff to do, then sleep, and then up in 4.5 hours time. So yeah, I need to get off. But thanks for a very short appearance on this stream, but all the best with the testing. I hope it all goes well.
Oh, indeed. Wonderful to have you on. And we are going to bring in Mr. Stephen Marr. Stephen, how's it going for you?
Oh, pretty good. Thanks, Chris, for letting me take a second to eat something. We were about to go live, and I'm like, if we have enough time, I'm going to throw something in the microwave. And then it's like, oh, recondenser's on. And I'm like, oh, no. And so Chris,
I think our internal joke, right, was plan your terminal count better.
Right. Yeah, which I did not do. I was like, I think we have time. And then as soon as I popped it in the microwave, it was like, it's go time. Like, oh no. But yeah, thanks to Chris B for covering for me for a little bit.
Cool. So I think we're going to swap around what we're doing too, and I'm going to pass off our hosting duties to you, Stephen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I always love it whenever I show up and the queue is full of good questions. So-
there's
Oh,
water
here we-
suppression system.
Yep.
Might indicate a static fire. Ooh, that's interesting.
okay, so let's
keep
just
you-
watch for a second.
Yep.
Yep. Let's watch. And deactivate it.
Okay.
Stop.
Keeping quiet yet, but
Yeah. Okay, so didn't see any upward vents there, but we definitely saw
Yeah.
venting cease, and then we also saw the sound suppression system be activated. And of course, one of the things that we do know in testing is, right, they do test out different parts of the system during these campaigns. So that's kind of why we stopped talking, because we weren't sure if maybe that was an indication that maybe they intended to light the engines. And again, we're sort of entering that window of when we might expect to see a test based on the timings of when venting all started, when the engine chill began, and we sort of estimated from that might be between 5:55 and 6 p.m. local time. So definitely keeping an eye on Starship there under that. But of course, remember, it's a test campaign too, so could have been a variety of factors or different steps that they're testing in the overall process. So yeah.
Yeah, have you ever seen them just turn on the water cannons and just to test them out, or is it usually?
Yeah, we've seen them
Yeah.
doing that, but not like when they're actually preparing to test the engines. Like, I mean, there's been aborts previously, right? And we have seen that before. But we also have seen tests of the water system individually, but like without a vehicle on top, with all the vents and everything, like usually people around. Where we had a couple of weeks ago, I think there was a daily that actually was about that. They had activated the water suppression system, and they have been testing that day. So yeah, like both things usually mean abort, and I don't want to say that because, oh man, it will be a shame. But yeah,
It would
we'll
be
see
a
what
shame,
happens.
right?
Got
but
all
part-
dressed
but-
up for nothing.
Yeah, it's part of the testing.
Yeah. I mean, if it's an abort now, yes, it's obviously disappointing. But if it's still something that they're learning from an ironing kinks. Oh wow, that's harder to say than I thought on air. It's still good progress. I mean, look at its heavy lift counterpart with SLS, right? Like we each time it's gone through a fueling count, it's gotten a little bit better each time. Is that an upward vent or just a vent caught in the wind?
Alex is analyzing.
Yeah.
I'm
Please
just-
stand
I'm
by
just
while
reading
Alex
chat,
analyzes the image.
watching the
Yeah.
cameras and everything. I'm trying to look at
Um,
things. It's very weird that the engine chill vents have stopped. That's worrying me the most right now.
Well, for now, we could probably go ahead and run through a few questions, right, while we just kind of watch
Yeah.
and kind of see what's going on here.
I've also
first-
seen some
go
people,
ahead.
just before we go into questions, because this is actually something that I've seen on chat, so I guess it's also addressing a question, right? Some people were pointing out that on the left camera view, there are like lifts and things like that on the background. Well, that's actually way far away. If you see on the right screen, they are not right there around the pad itself, right? So, because they were saying, oh, no testing can happen if all those things are there. But you can see on the right side view, it's not really, see? You can see some lifts on pad A. I think that's a good enough distance to be safe.
Yeah,
But yeah, go ahead
call
with the
it- in
questions.
the photography game, we call it forced compression. But yeah, yeah. Let's hit these questions real quick. I'm gonna hit. We've got a new member, new red team member, Simon Pond. Thank you so much for that support. And then also we have a question. I'm just gonna call you Scott. That's the only part I recognize in there. Will Starship be heading to the moon or Mars? Well,
We have a depress. Well, first
Oh,
off, we have a
boy.
depressurization vent underway on ship
no.
24. So depressurization most likely indicates a recycle of some point. It definitely indicates that they're depressurizing the tanks. So we're not proceeding into an engine test of any kind right now, at least. But it doesn't mean they're done for the day, right, Alex? How long does our test window go for in terms of how long they can have the road closed for today?
It runs all the way to 10 p.m., so about 4 extra hours right now. And on top of that, we also can see, because we have seen that in the past, we can also have an extension probably to 2 a.m. So, yep. Still a long time in the window to reset. But yeah, it's a little bit of sad news, but
Well, we've also seen them recycle fairly quickly too sometimes, correct? And of course that's very dependent on what the issue was that kicked them out of whatever test they were doing here. Yeah.
Depending on the issue that might have happened, it could be just a really quick recycle. So maybe within an hour or so, whatever, or even less than that. We have seen that before. They have reset like 40 minutes, no more than that.
And don't we also have like I know we're going to keep our attention on ship 24 here, but we also have like another like big ship on the
around.
Yeah, well, I guess the point I'm trying to get to is Booster 7 might do some stuff too today, right? That's not completely out of the question just yet.
Yeah, that's totally right. We can also see some testing today with Booster 7.
Awesome.
All right.
But yeah, I can actually answer this question, Stephen, right? Because I think you were going to answer that, right? Go for it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say it's a super easy question that I can answer myself. Yes. The answer is that's the intention. The whole idea behind Starship is to be able to transport anything and anyone to just about anywhere in the solar system once it reaches full maturity. So Moon and Mars and beyond. But not today. Today it's going to stay on the ground. Did you have anything to add, Chris?
Nope.
All right.
It's our multi-purpose vehicle, basically.
That's right. Yeah. And also, I am getting in the back channel. We're gonna be doing some swapping today because, as y'all know, we are mid Artemis coverage, and there's a lot of swapping that needs to happen, and we're trying to get all these commentators in and out, and everybody getting sleep and that sort of thing. So, right now we're going to tag out Chris Gebhardt. Thanks for coming in here and answering a few questions.
My pleasure. See, now I'll leave, and it will do the thing you're all waiting for it to do. Yeah.
Well, see, I was hoping that when I showed up, that meant it was all going down. Like I was like, "Oh, good,
you're right.
I'm a good luck charm." but
see, it's giving you a second chance to sync your microwave terminal count.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's Chris Gebhardt. He's gonna head on out of here, and we're gonna welcome into the commentary stream Ian Atkinson. How's it going, Ian?
It's going good. Excited to be here. See some more Starship testing happening.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm guessing you were probably watching, but just in case, we saw some indications of something, and then we saw a depress vent. So we're not 100% sure where we're at, but people definitely stick around so we can all see this together, whatever SpaceX has up their sleeve.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that the frost line is still on the ship means that either there still is propellant in the vehicle or there was very recently. So that's a good sign that I think that's something that they're at least hoping to get something else to happen tonight.
Right. Yeah, so in the meantime, until we see some further signs of anything at all, we'll start hitting your questions. Don't forget, if you have a question, just tag at NASASpaceflight, and we'll see it in our nifty software and bring it up. It really helps keep the conversation going, so we really appreciate you guys throwing questions at us. Let's see, we've got Marshall Aerospace USA Inc. saying, do you think a 33 Raptor firing would just destroy the OLM? Who wants to take
Well,
that?
I mean, I
If
could grab
done
that real
right, it
quick.
shouldn't, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it won't, but I think the intention there is that it wouldn't. I mean, I really don't see any reason why SpaceX would choose to not do a 33 engine static fire. For the data, the vibrations, the noise, just ensuring you can light all the engines in sequence. And even if it wasn't able to sustain that, it would need to sustain something like that for liftoff, because as with pretty much any rocket, they're almost certainly going to ignite the engines a few seconds before launch, and then there's still going to be the engine plume hitting the pad a few seconds after liftoff. So it's going to need to
Sure.
sustain several seconds, one way or the other. So
And I don't expect Starship to be a quick vehicle off the pad. I expect it to kind of lumber off, much like a Falcon 9 does. Like, it's not going to jump off the pad like a Minotaur or something.
Well, I've actually seen like people doing simulations with the given thrust and the given mass, and it has around a 1.5 thrust to weight ratio, so it should be relatively quick off the pad. I mean, not like a bullet, but it should be. It should have some speed. It won't be like, the Saturn V slowly lumbering off the pad, at least in theory.
Right. I mean, that is a lot of engines that it's got, but it's also a very heavy vehicle. So, yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what it looks like. I've seen a lot of launches, and I'm always excited to see a new rocket and see what that looks like, because they're all a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm very excited. There's so much that we're going to learn publicly, and SpaceX as well, but on the first launch, how fast will it go, things like that.
Guys, the vent stack is venting, so that usually means they are detanking the vehicle, which, to be honest, it does pose a good mood to be able to do a recycle, because you gotta drain the tanks and then reload them again. So yeah, it seems like this time they're kicking it.
Do we know why they would have to
recycle?
Do we know why they would have to detank in order to retank? Could they not just leave the fuel in there?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure why, but that's sort of what we've seen in the past. It's more like an experience kind of statement rather than something that, yeah, they have to do this because we don't really know, right? It's more like they have done this all the time. It will be very weird for them to not do it. Now, truly, I gotta be honest here. Not all tests have been like that. They have had tests where they actually have kept the propellants in the tanks after they have done another test. So, for example, SN9 did 3 engine static fire tests on, I think it was January 2021, if I remember correctly, and all of them kept the propellant. So they static fired once, instead of draining them back, they kept them on the vehicle, and then they static fired twice, and after that they drain it. So yeah, like, could that happen today? Not sure, but indications seem to be that not this time.
Yeah. Well, and we'll know for sure once that frost ring starts to shrink, and then we'll get to see it grow again. Let's hit a few super chats. First, we've got Tom Berry, a new member. Thank you for becoming a Capcom member. That is the level Capcom and up. That will give you access to our Discord channel, where you can talk about all kinds of space stuff. There's a lot of people in there to enjoy your fun. Let's see. Philip Whitehouse is a Pineapple fan club member, apparently.
Awesome.
Philip.
Glad to hear it. Thank you very much, though.
Let's see. Roseanne DeVasto. Don't they have to check the full engine static test? I'm not sure. Not sure what you mean by that. Maybe like check the box.
That's my like complete a full 6 engine static fire with Ship 24, which they have not done so far, if I remember correctly.
And we would assume that at some point they will. We don't know if that'll be today, but yeah, probably.
Yep.
And then Jay Lefevre is a new Red Team member. Thank you very much. And Alex Shipley is a new launch director member.
Like their name.
Oh yeah, all Alexes stick together.
Launch
Let's
director, that's a lot of support. Yeah.
Yeah, launch director. Yeah, that's a good level there. Thank you very much for that support. Paul Sessions saying, "What is the T minus time?"
T minus question mark.
Right.
That's my
Well-
input.
I believe that's from before, right? So it might
Yeah, that's from
it might
like,
have been
like
around
first-
top of the hour, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Right now we have really no idea because it looks like they might be detanking and doing a full recycle. But that's okay. I mean, the recycle doesn't take all that long, right?
It shouldn't.
Yeah, it shouldn't take too long.
They're like, sometimes it does.
We're gonna be positive and think it's gonna be like the minimum that we've
Yes.
seen, which is about 40 minutes.
Yeah. And Radial just asking, how are you all doing? Well, I'm doing great. We're in the middle of Artemis week. Not that anybody else has called it Artemis week, but that's what it feels like because there's been a lot of photo ops that I've been able to go out for. Just a lot of exciting stuff going on leading up to the Artemis 1 launch, and it's super exciting here on the Space Coast knowing that the SLS is mere days from its first launch attempt. And then we have a couple other launch attempts. So I'm really hoping that next week we're going to get SLS off the ground. So that's how I'm doing down here. How are y'all doing? Ian, go.
I'm doing really good. I had a chocolate chip cookie with dinner, so I'm in a very good mood.
All right. And Alex, how are you doing?
Well, I forgot to eat for some reason, so I'm a little bit hungry, but I can grab something quick later. Don't worry, I'm fine.
I've got one of those like those packs you get with the beef stick and the cheese stick, you know, where they're side by side. I've got one of those just in case
Nice.
this goes real long.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Max Del Marco saying, what are they testing? And that question may have been answered already, that we're not 100% sure what they're testing, right, guys?
Yep, yeah, we do not know exactly for sure. It could be spin prime, pre-burner, wet dress rehearsal even. We don't know exactly.
Yeah. Without a notice, right now it's a little bit hard to gauge because, again, no notice most of the time means no static fire. But today we saw the water suppression system coming off, so who knows, right?
Right.
It might or might not be on for today, but we'll see.
All right, and Atlas asking a question. I think a lot of people are asking this question. What is going on with SpaceX and T-Mobile at Starbase tomorrow?
Good question. I don't think
That
we
was
know
a
exactly.
tweet. I was like, what? SpaceX, T-Mobile, what's going on here?
Yeah, very interesting
that's-
partnership there.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was out of nowhere.
Yeah, and now there's going to be an event tomorrow where they're going to announce something. I mean, you guys have had a few hours to think on it. Do you have any kind of spitball ideas that you want to throw out there that it could be something to do with Starlink? I would guess.
Yeah. Maybe T-Mobile's bought a stake in Starlink, or maybe SpaceX is putting. The thing I think is probably most realistic. Again, totally guessing. But I could see them putting a T-Mobile network antenna inside the Starlink antennas. So, say if you're like on the road or if you're moving around, it can be kind of cross-supported with T-Mobile and Starlink. I don't know. I don't know if that'd be useful or not, but that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
I do wonder though, this is like an actual presentation event, announcement, whatever you want to call it, with like a live stream. So it must be a big deal. Like because they're live streaming that on a SpaceX channel. So the last
And
time
they've
that we
invited
saw
media also. They've invited media.
yeah,
to
they
come
have
out
invited
and
media
also.
and everything. The last time was on the that's at Starbase. The last time they did something like this was the Starship presentation. So I do wonder if this kind of partnership also involves launching stuff on Starship, namely something like Starlinks, which can better connect with T-Mobile users or whatever. Like, I don't know, because they might have any payload on those satellites. Like, you can think many things, right? If it were just an announcement, as in a press release kind of thing, that would probably mean something like, oh well, they are backhauling, Starship, Starlink or something, right? But it feels like it's bigger than that.
I'm looking in chat right now, and a lot of people are saying maybe they're going to be supporting phone calls and texting through Starlink. As
That
in,
could
like,
also
you
be a big thing.
directly connect through your dish with the T-Mobile phone, and pretty much you have a satellite phone, which would be incredibly useful and would be, I think, a major stride forward for them.
Yeah,
Right,
it's certainly something big.
couldn't you could already do that if you have like the mobile Starlink package, and then you just set up a Wi-Fi, and you could, well, I guess you might not be able to make a phone call, but you'd be able to communicate. But yeah, maybe the idea is to make it where you can actually call phone numbers from a remote location as long as you've got Starlink. I don't know. We'll see. Do we know what time is that tomorrow?
7 p.m. Central, so in about 25 hours.
Oh. And I'm wondering now if we're going to see get some. I would not actually. I kind of assume that we're going to get some information on Starlink 2, because SpaceX has been more or less silent on what Starlink 2 is going to be. We found out most information through FCC filings and little bits here from Elon Musk, but we've never seen, say, like an official picture of a Starlink 2 satellite or things like that. I wonder if we're going to get like a sort of Starlink update at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Stay
Very
tuned.
interesting.
And I'm seeing, oh man, Russell Snodgrass, you are too kind. Thank you very much for the $100 super chat. And they have a question. Can a static fire be done with the QD still connected? Euro, and then another question, Euro versus North American bacon.
Jack's not here to answer that.
Well, wait, you forgot about Canadian bacon.
Isn't that just ham?
I look, I don't know what the difference is. I know that some pizza places, when you call them and ask for ham, they say, oh, well, we have Canadian bacon, or vice versa. If you ask for Canadian bacon, they're like, oh, well, we have ham. But I don't know what the difference is.
Well, it says North America bacon. Because there's like an N that usually means North America in Canada.
But what's Euro bacon? Because I'm thinking of North American bacon as like bacon, like breakfast bacon. What's Euro bacon?
I don't know. You tell me.
We are so sidetracked on the secondary question. It's bacon, y'all.
As for the QD question, they have actually done many tests with the QD still connected. They did have tests in the past with the early ships, where they were actually able to disconnect the umbilicals and the QDs. But that was because that was actually how it was supposed to be back in the days. Nowadays, this test stand and this new design of the QD is not really designed to be coming off for this test stand. It'll be coming off when you see the ship on top of the booster with the arm and the QD and everything. That should be coming off for launch, but not here because it's not made for that.
And that actually, I was thinking a bit earlier, a few minutes ago, I wonder if they could even, if that is a true quick disconnect, or if that's just an umbilical. I wonder if that's even like launch capable really, or if that's just, okay, we don't need to launch from these pads anymore. Let's just put something we can attach and fuel with. I don't know.
All right. Let's take another question here. Luca Vandecastile. Oh, and also Russell, maybe at NASASpaceflight in the regular chat, let us know what Eurobacon is. But Luca asks, do you guys think there are vacuum Raptor 2s on Ship 24? Because I can't remember any being delivered.
They're delivered under a tarp now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they come in like special boxes. And there are vacuum Raptors. We've seen pictures shared by SpaceX and Elon of them installed in the ship. So yep, definitely. There are vacuum Raptors.
Yeah, they are there, y'all. Phoenix Rose asking if SpaceX wanted to do Earth-to-Earth launches to another country, what all would that require regulatorily and internationally? That's kind of a complicated question because yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to work that out. I mean, it might go back to the early days of like commercial aviation, like how that was all sorted out, be able to nicely fly things and people from country to country. But I wasn't around for that. Do you guys have any insight on what that might look like?
I mean, my best guess would be I'm sure the FAA would be involved from the start. Um, I guess each country's form of the FAA would have to work as well. So I guess like a European FAA. I don't know if that exists or not. Um, things like
EAA.
that. European Aviation Administration. But yeah, I'd say that maybe the United Nations would need to get involved. I don't know, honestly, but it definitely wouldn't be, okay, a 2 week process. It would definitely take probably months, if not years of agreements. And, this is something that's never been done before. So it probably would be best to just lay groundwork for overall rocket flight between countries.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, first things first, of course, they've got to prove that it's safe before they start, putting hundreds and thousands of people on them.
Oh yeah, that's a decade away easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to it though. I've said that, if that happens and I'm able to, I will spend the money just to fly on it and come back. I don't necessarily have
Yeah.
a destination I'm dying to go to, but I would just love to fly on it. I mean, uh, it's not orbit when you do that, of course, but it's close enough for me. Let's see. Oh, let's hit these. Let's hit these super chats. We've got a gifted membership here. Jim Cavett gifting one Red Team membership. So I think that notifies you somehow on your YouTube account that you've been chosen. It's sort of just like a random person, right?
Yeah, and it also you gotta activate that. I think YouTube actually tells you, hey, you gotta activate it. But if you ignore that, just saying, this is like some kind of ad or something. No, you actually gotta pay attention to that. It happened to me once.
Oh,
And
really?
actually was gifted membership because frankly I'm not a member of NSF. Yeah, I know. Bad, boo, bad Alex. But yeah. I was gifted one once.
Right.
So it could be anyone actually. So you could see that.
Yeah, and all you got to do is watch, and then it's all it can only be given to viewers of the stream. I'm pretty sure, and so all you got to do is watch.
Yep.
And then we've got Tracy becoming a Capcom member. Thank you very much, Tracy. And Sean M saying maybe a stupid question, but would Booster 7/Artemis destroy the hearing of any wildlife close to liftoff? It's not a stupid question. We care about our fuzzy friends, and I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, the
I, I,
hearing or the actual wildlife, right, Ian?
oh
Yeah,
no. I mean, the shuttle hit a bat or a bird on the way up one time, but
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
and
think there would definitely be some wildlife casualties. How many? I don't know. I would assume if there's like any, birds or any like fish in the water near the pad when it goes off, they might have a problem. But I don't think it would be, like a slaughterhouse, like, oh, every animal in 10 miles is gone, nothing like that.
no,
I think
no,
it also kind of be like, I guess, in the same boat as like, if you go like a nightclub and then the next day you wake up and your hearing's kind of fuzzy. I think it'd be like that for, some of the wildlife.
right. Yeah, and we've seen wildlife. Actually, I've got a couple of photos from one particular Falcon 9 launch. Of course, I can't remember which launch. I think it was a Starlink back when we used to do remotes for Starlink, where a couple of doves flew between my camera and the rocket, and both my cameras caught it. One was set up as a wide shot and caught both camera or both birds flying through. And actually, I saw some video from others. I believe one was from John Krause, a video of those birds flying through the scene. But one of my shots, it was an engine shot. It it was perfectly lined up between my camera and the exhaust coming out of the Merlins, so that the bird is just perfectly silhouetted against the flames. It was totally awesome. And people asked me about the bird being scorched, and I was like, no, 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 no. This is like it's a perspective kind of thing. The bird is actually closer to the camera than it was to the rocket.
I see people in chat mentioning, and it's a good point as well. There are often systems in place around the pad to, scare away any wildlife, such as, I mean, honestly, straight up, I think the venting from the vehicle would scare off a good amount of wildlife, but it wouldn't shock me if they had to say, like, install sirens or some kind of like an alarm sounding thing, because, that scare wildlife, get them away from the loud noise, so then they're decently away from when launch happens. That would not surprise me at all.
Yeah. And I think there's alarms that happen anyway, just to make sure if anyone happens to still be in the area, like, hey, there's a rocket that's about to launch. I think there are sirens. I want to say I've heard it in some photographers do video at the pad, and I've heard sirens of some kind and announcements. I can't really hear them, but there are alerts that go out before a rocket launches, even at the pad. Like you would think, well, why would anybody be there? Well, it's still a precaution to take.
Yep, someone doesn't get the memo or something. Yeah.
Doesn't hear the venting. I don't know. I'm not sure in what scenario that would happen, but it's still a safety precaution that they take. Jackson Mills is a Capcom member. Thank you very much, and enjoy your time in the Discord. Let's see. Oh, ADHD Gaming saying had Starlink since beta, 14 months of awesomeness. Well, that's good. That's a good report that it's working for you. And then the Sandwich Maker just saying Team Space are patient tank watchers.
Oh,
Yeah, we
now
are.
I'm hungry. I want a sandwich.
What?
And then we have a couple of other new members, both named Robert. We've got Robert Keeper becoming a Red Team member, and also Robert Shelton becoming a Red Team member. So thank y'all for that support. That's the kind of stuff that helps keep this ship a rolling. All right, and are you guys seeing anything do I need to stop? Should I keep hitting questions? What do we got going on over here on ship 24?
I mean, the vent stack has stopped. I don't see really. There's some puffs coming from the tank farm, so it seems to me like they're getting ready to recycle. So that's, I guess, good news.
Is the
Yeah.
I have been staring at the question screen. How's that frost line looking?
I was
can't see
just
it from
It's
looking.
this
going
angle.
down.
Tough
Okay,
to
good.
see from this angle, but yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely shrinking for
Yep.
sure.
Had to wait for Patrick to change the view.
Yeah. All
I mean,
right.
you can see from here too.
Oh, go ahead. What do you got?
I was going to say, you see the orbital tank farm is still sitting silent.
Yeah. It was doing some puffing. Was that earlier today, or do I have my days? I think, yeah. Wasn't it doing some pretty regular pulsing vents earlier today? Or am I thinking? Maybe I'm thinking of yesterday. I don't know. I see. When you grab sleep, just kind of whenever you can, you lose track of what day stuff happened.
Yep, I understand that.
We've got some more questions. Remember, you can tag us at NASASpaceflight. We have quite a few queued up. We're just kind of strolling through those tags, and we will put them into this queue and hopefully get your question answered. Ghost Dragon saying a lot of people were arguing on if second stage and single stage to orbit. Give us the answer. Give us the answer now, Alex. Can
God. that whole thing. Well, it's easy. The question was whether Starship can go into orbit by itself. The answer is no. And as I said the other day, there's no questions asked. Whatever modifications you're thinking of, that's not the Starship that we're looking at here.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
I don't
if
even
we're
know.
seeing some venting from Ship 24, or it's just my imagination.
Did we? I don't see any right now, but there might have been a little puff before.
I'm thinking on the methane tank, but maybe it's me.
there's an old
Patrick,
80s
that's a
song.
cue for you to change the view.
There's an old
Okay,
80s
no.
song called King of Wishful Thinking, and I think that's you, Alec. All right, we've got more questions. Wait a minute, we've got a very generous super chat coming in, $99.99 from Alan Fromm. Wow, with no question,
Wow.
just the support. Thank you very much, Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah, man, that means so much that people would do that sort of thing. That's a
Super
lot of money to me.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Um, Man, I never know what to say with that. Like, man, I can't do that. I would not be able to do that. But thank you very much. Those that can, we really appreciate it.
Oh
Uh,
God, what? Why this question got to go off? Now everyone is arguing about that in chat.
do what?
The SSTO question. Now everyone
Oh,
is
yeah.
talking about that.
And then
Apart from some bacon talk.
bacon talk, yeah. And I thought, and this is probably wrong, but I thought like maybe a couple years ago when people were already talking about this. I mean, this has been a subject for a long time, and
Mm.
the consensus was like, yeah, it could maybe do it if it had no payload, but then why would you do that?
Yep. Just kind of like
So
just to say that you did.
yeah,
Yeah, but that was also with a design from years ago, and like there's many variables into the whole thing. People say, "Oh well, but it has the delta V because if you fully fuel the tanks, right, you might have the delta V." I will disagree with that. It's a little bit under the delta V that you need to go into orbit. But then again, if you fully load the vehicle, you still don't have the thrust to even lift off with all 6 engines. So you will need
mm,
to add engines or extend the tanks, and then you run into a vehicle that is not a Starship. It's not the thing that you're seeing right here on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you remove the flaps, for example, that could shave a little bit of dry mass and probably add some delta V, but still you're short on the liftoff thrust. So yep, you will need more engines, and probably that means the dry mass is higher, so you will need more tank fuel volume. So then again, you run into the same issue, right? So you need to make Starship bigger to be able to allow an SSTO to happen with, but that's not the vehicle that we're seeing right now. So yep, call it
yeah,
whatever you want, but that's not a Starship.
and it doesn't make sense to do it anyway.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah. Well, and then kind of along those lines of why would you do it? We have a question from Ian Downs. Can Booster 7 fly without Starship on it?
Sure, it would not fly for very long though.
Yeah.
Also,
That
shout out to
reminds me.
Ian's.
Oh yeah, another Ian. That reminds me of a meme that Mark did yesterday with Starhopper on top of Booster 7, and it was like a small nose cone on top. I mean, if you fly with a nose cone, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, just put like a Falcon Heavy side booster nose cone on it. That wouldn't work.
that
That's
wouldn't
like
work.
something I would do in Kerbal, like put a a nose cone on it, but it's way too small. Let's see. Going back into the question bag. Uh, some guy asking, are the SPMTs a long-term solution for Starship and Super Heavy transport, or is that a short-term solution? Pretty good question.
I don't think we know the answer to that. I mean, it seems like they're doing the job plenty fine. I mean, SpaceX has even bought their own, so I'd say like medium term at least. I mean, maybe they could buy a or build a dedicated transport that's maybe faster, more stable, wider base, things like that. But it seems like the SPMTs are doing what they need right now, and the fact that they bought their own to me says that they're doing exactly what they need.
Yeah. All right. And Toaster Chip saying, what Starship do you guys think will be the first to land on Mars? My guess, this is from them, not me. My guess is ship 36. That's not too far.
Ooh,
Wow, that's very optimistic.
I'd say in the early to mid hundreds.
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh boy, that's a bad question for me because I never decide. I'm gonna say uh the last like 80 to 100 probably. But yeah,
Yeah,
one thing that I want to point out right now is we're seeing the frost already gone from ship 24. We're seeing the tank farm coming off a little bit um more to life than before. So hopefully we see a recycle. I'm optimistic.
Yeah. I like your optimism. Oh, and Patrick, who's running the stream right now in the back channel, said ship 24, or sorry, ship 42, for
nah.
Okay.
obvious reasons, I think.
42 might be a contender for like maybe the first crewed Starship, but even that seems very early to me.
Yeah, it does. Maybe the first one to land on the moon?
Maybe the first to do refueling.
Yeah. I mean, they tried to do something significant with the booster for ship 20.
Hmm.
Elon said it was just a coincidence, but they it seemed like they were trying to push for doing something with those that was significant. And well, now we're on booster 7 and ship 24.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh, Joshua Benchamol saying, is this the same fuel that SpaceX uses for the Falcon 9 launches?
So,
No, that's an easy question.
yep.
We answer all questions, by the way. Not like just because it is an easy question doesn't mean it's less worthy. We do
Right.
answer those questions.
Yeah.
This rocket uses methane, liquid methane, as the fuel, whereas Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy use kerosene. Actually, a rocket grade kerosene called RP1.
Mhm. All right. Let's see. Shmuel Nathan. Can we assume they need to fire all 6 engines to have ship 24 ready? I assume Elon wants a full stack for tomorrow, plus they can't without having ship 24 on top.
Full stack for tomorrow? I don't think
Yeah.
they're really looking at a full stack for tomorrow's announcement. I think it's okay where the like it will be unwise in my opinion to just remove ship 24 out of here just for an event like this.
Hmm.
There's a lot of testing going on. I said yesterday, don't assume that just because they fire all engines on both vehicles, that's it. They could fire again, for example,
Yep.
and or they could try any other kind of testing. So,
With
yep,
Ship 20, they did what, like 2 or 3 6 engine static fire tests? And I mean,
yeah.
Ship 24 has Raptor 2 engines, so it has brand new engines, higher thrust, um, different arrangement of the engines. It's kind of like a new engine in some remarks. So it wouldn't shock me to do several different static fires, do pre-burner tests and things like that, just to get all the data you can so you can be confident when this flies. Because there's a lot at stake here, and these are brand new. Oh, and there's a vent.
Well, another deep press vent. We
It
usually
looks,
expect
yeah.
2 deep press vents, but that was a short one. So hopefully it's just for recycling. Usually when it is short vents, that's a good sign because the deep press vents of like we're done with this are way longer and more impressive. This was like a short one. So hopefully we're actually going to be seeing a recycle very shortly.
All right. And in the meantime, back to your question. Elmar Wormuth, does SpaceX already got a launch license for Starship?
No. They do have the FAA environmental report approved, which is, I think, like the last major milestone towards the launch license, but they've not gotten the license yet.
All right. And I am a meme saying, why do we need Gateway? Or do we need gateway? Talking
Or
about gateway
depress
as part
venting.
of. Uh-oh, here we go.
This one is a little bit longer. Now, see, I said it's short, it's good. And now it's getting longer.
And some base venting too there near the engines.
Yep. That's interesting.
Well, this is certainly
But it's
a
only one
depress.
vent.
There's 2 vents normally, right?
Yeah,
There's
there's
another
usually
one
2.
closer to the top too. So is this them venting the fuel and the oxygen tanks?
Yep.
Oh, it's stopped now. There it goes again.
It's interesting. They seem to have 2 vents for the methane tank and 1 for the oxygen.
I believe the oxygen tank also has 2. Like I believe there's another one on the right side. They just only use usually 1, which is
Gotcha.
interesting to see because that's also the same thing for the methane tank. Well, to be frank, the LOX tank actually has 4 vents because then there's like the 2 cowbell vents that are like pointing down, but those are less used. They are used, but just less times. And then the engine chill vents, there are 2 of them. But this is quite a lot of venting.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're actually doing like a depress for good and they're done for the day, or maybe for the recycling they just want everything to be just, in like a reset condition.
Yeah. Start fresh. Start from 0. Is that all you have to say, Ship 24?
I was just about to say, I think that's our depress there. So we've kind of hit rock bottom. Now we should start climbing back up, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Crossing
All
our
right,
fingers.
All right, so we'll keep watching for stuff, and in the meantime, yeah, we've still got this question of why do we need gateway, or do we need gateway? Of course, they're talking about gateway for the Artemis program, sort of like a space station around the moon, right?
Yeah, that's a big question. So, do we need gateway? Maybe not need it, but it helps. There's really several purposes, and I think there's kind of one overarching kind of hidden purpose. So the main purpose of it is supposedly to have a sort of docking hub in lunar orbit, where Orion and Starship will dock, and the crew will, and 2 crew members will stay while 2 go down to the surface. So it's kind of like a little crew quarters. Oh, and some extra venting there for good luck. That was quick.
One vent
Yeah,
for the road.
Yeah. So Gateway is like a docking hub, but I think one of the main reasons it exists, honestly, even because Starship is so big that they wouldn't technically need it, maybe, but I think one of the big reasons it exists is to have international cooperation. So Japan and Europe are providing modules, and the fact that they're providing modules and they're already committed would make it much harder for, say, the government to defund the Artemis program and defund Gateway, because you already have commitments from international partners. And I think that's the whole overarching point of the Artemis program that makes it different from Constellation, is that we already have commitments from other countries. So if we back out, they're not going to be happy with us. So that's at least my thinking on this, is that's why we have Gateway. That's why it seems a little counterintuitive, but it's all woven together to make it uncancelable.
Yeah, there's also the argument that Orion cannot make it into low lunar orbit, so then you need some kind of staging station around the moon, and the best way to position that station is in like a stable orbit, and the near rectilinear halo orbit where the gateway will be located is sort of like that ideal stable orbit around the moon. But then again, you could think, well, why don't they make a tug for Orion, or why don't they make the service module larger, right? Yeah, there's many like counter reasons to that technical reason why they're using gateway. But yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of keeping everybody involved, I think. And maybe it's not such a bad idea to have a couple of people in a small station orbiting the moon while there's a couple of people down on the surface.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they'd be able to help them in some way that people back on Earth wouldn't be able to. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead,
Go
Alex.
ahead. No, go you.
Literally just
I was-
said 3 sentences, the exact same 3 sentences at the exact same time. That was magical.
But yeah, and the thing with Gateway too, someone mentioned that in the chat too, is that the near rectilinear halo orbit spends a long time over the lunar south pole, meaning that Gateway can be a communications hub to relay signal from the lunar station to the lunar base, and also at the same time, the crew on board Gateway can do science experiments, photography of the moon, science of the moon, some zero gravity research, things like that, because a space station around the moon is a great science opportunity, and that I'm very, very personally excited about.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that is usually often talked about here is that why build a gateway if you don't have the funding for it, right? Because I'm all for it. Like, oh yeah, I want stations everywhere. The same thing, with robotic missions. I want orbiters around Mercury, Venus, around Earth. We have many of them, obviously. About around Mars, all of the planets out there. I want orbiters and landers and all of that, and human stations around. But money is always the one that is here dictating what you can do and what you cannot do. So if you don't have the money to actually run that program, reminder that they're struggling to actually get money for Gateway right now, and they don't even have appropriations for funding for the logistics services to Gateway, the Gateway logistics services, which is actually right now being run. It's on the plans to be run via SpaceX's Dragon XL vehicle. So if you don't have the funding, why dig yourself a grave into another project which might avert funding from other things, like actually going to Mars? But yeah, that's a whole different debate here.
Yeah. All right, let's hit a couple of these super chats. We've got I can't read. I'm not even sure. I'm a ugly American. I'm not even sure what language this is, but thank you very much for the 15 of what's that currency there? Is that
I think that's Taiwan currency. I think it is.
okay?
Hold up.
Well,
Yep, that's Taiwan. That's Taiwanese dollars.
Okay,
There
awesome.
you go.
Well, thank you very much for that support.
After so long,
question
one.
for the support. And
Yeah.
then we've got Priddle becoming a Capcom member. Enjoy your fun in the Discord. Secret Orb saying SSTO off the surface of Mars. Just saying. Okay, so there. Yeah, you're technically yes. So yes, Starship can go single stage to orbit from Mars, right?
Actually, SSTE, single stage to Earth from Mars. So that's amazing. Trying to look for more signs of the tank farm activity. It's a little bit hard to see. I believe I've seen the recondenser puffing a little bit before, but
See birds flying around. So the pad is not technically clear.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why they.
Oh!
That's why they.
engines vent. Engine vents.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I cannot English right now. I get excited and I cannot English. Yeah,
What-
that's engine vents coming off again.
What does that mean, Alex? Does that mean they're just depressing or they're loading stuff on board?
Well, if we see a frost ring on the LOX tank within a few minutes, it might mean they're actually loading again. That's nice. It
Yeah,
does
all
look
right.
like when they spool up for the first time. Here's
Yeah,
hoping.
today. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember we were watching this, I think before we went live, we were noticing some of this activity. So yeah, hopefully we're on our way to a second test here, or first test. I don't know. What would you consider the first thing we saw? Is that a test? Do you think, with it, now a little bit behind us, do y'all think that it was an aborted test, or do you think, what are your thoughts there?
Test 1.1?
There you go. All right. See, Christopher Thomas, we're running out of steel on Earth. It's all being sent to space by SpaceX. Not really. Not yet.
There's a lot of steel on
There's a
Earth.
lot of steel. In fact,
Yeah.
that's part of why Starship is made out of steel, because it's so cheap, because it's so plentiful, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the deciding factors, I think.
It is cheap. It's easier to work with because with carbon fiber, say if you get a cut or it cracks or something or leaks, you're done. You have to scrap the PC. It's extremely difficult, if not even possible at all, to fix. But with stainless steel, just weld it together if you want.
Yeah.
And I think also that makes it good for if you're on Mars and say there's maybe like a crack in the flap. Oh, just weld it or something.
Yeah. In this view, we've got a good look at. I'm seeing two vents. These are the engine vents we're talking about, right?
Yep. You're right.
Yeah, they don't shoot out with quite as much authority as those depress vents. They just kind of trickle out. It's. All right. Paul Kelly with a question. Are there any signs SpaceX might increase the propellant / LN2 capacity of the suborbital farm or link it to the orbital farm?
At this point, no. I would say if they wanted to do it, they would have done it already. And the fact they have a fully fledged orbital farm that can already tank the vehicle and a fully fledged suborbital farm to test the Starship vehicle, I don't see really any point in linking them anymore.
It might also be, the suborbital tank farm, no, but it might come handy for the orbital tank farm, for example, to expand it once they actually increase the cadence. That might be helpful.
Just to have a little extra capacity, you mean?
Yeah, and we actually know they want a second launch pad, so they're obviously going to have a second tank farm out there. We'll see once that happens, if they actually increase the current one and more depress vents. This is so confusing. Engine vents, but also the depress vents. It's like SpaceX confuses media button being pressed right now.
Right. Yeah, that's odd. All right. Well, I like this one from Christopher Thomas. The Boring Company tunneled to the core and is pumping the liquid iron straight to SpaceX. And then they have booster and ship numbers that are very long.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what is that?
Yeah.
B 2 trillion 5 billion 847. No, I started in the wrong place. Let's see.
Oh my god.
No, it's
I wouldn't
20
try
trillion.
it.
20 trillion 58,473,759.
The ship number is much higher by an order of magnitude.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to point something out real quick. We've seen the vent stack again going off, so yeah, that means more detank. So probably not recycling yet.
Or they started to recycle and then something wasn't going right.
Well, I'm hoping
like
it is more that they're still detanking. I hope that it
okay.
is the case. Because if we see 2 aborts in the same day, oh jeez, that will be a letdown.
All right, and Michael is in the back channel saying that we've seen engine chill vents during detanking.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that's worth noting there.
It's just
Just
weird
because we
though
saw,
that.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was about to point out that it is weird though that sometimes they either go out forever, or whenever they come back a little bit more, like more vivid than now. It seems like it's more like, we're just venting here a little bit, like some bleed of the cryogenic stuff, but yeah, like just in passing kind of vent.
Well, we continue to watch. Gwen Ever asking, do you think Starship is going to be ready on time for the HLS demo mission? That's a good question, because that's going to be one of its main priorities as it marches through development. It needs to be ready to well, it has to do its demo mission first to land on the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're getting new information about it too. Like, they might not even have a full-up Starship, or like the full-up human landing system Starship to land. It'll just be a skeleton ship. What they're thinking right now, which won't even take off again. And that's strange to me.
Yeah. What was the? It was noticed that one of the requirements for mission success is not taking off. So I guess I worded that wrong. Taking off is not a requirement for mission success.
I was reminded yesterday though that actually the uncrewed demo flights were not required apparently. So like NASA only required them to just land people on the moon, and they could just do that without demonstrating the actual lander to be functional. Before that, like you could probably just do ground testing or subscale testing on Earth, but not an actual uncrewed test flight. And in some sense, it kind of, I mean, even though we're in the 21st century, on Apollo it was way riskier because they went down to the moon all the time, right? With people on board. There were no uncrewed test flights with the lander on the moon. There were test flights, obviously, with our crew here on Earth. They were launching lunar modules and Apollo spacecraft without people on board, but on Earth. They didn't do any sort of moon landing tests without crew on board.
Right.
So if you think about it, I mean, yeah, right now it will be way safer if you actually did an uncrewed test flight. Like, I don't think anyone will be like, will be like, yeah, we're not gonna do any sort of uncrewed test flight, right? But then again, if that's not required by NASA, it is something that the companies themselves decide to do, then they probably set up the requirements themselves, and they thought that only landing was good enough to test the systems, and then the other things were just going to be tested independently, which, I mean, if that's what they decide, that's totally fair.
It's sort of like how SpaceX wasn't required to do an in-flight abort test of Dragon, but they chose to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're right.
Put on a great show. If you had a clear sky above you, you had a great show. I know a lot of people got clouded out by that one.
Yesterday I watched that one. I went back and watched that again. It was amazing. For those that actually had a view of it, of course.
All right, let's move along here. Still a little bit of venting there. Keeping an eye there. Stellar Raptor saying, do you think your cameras will survive a liftoff of Starship?
That's a last question, right?
Yeah, that's a DOS question. But I would just go out on a limb and say yes, probably, because they're not so close that they run the risk. I mean, we leave cameras here at the Cape. I mean, like when we set remotes for an Atlas V, we're pretty darn close. Like, you'd be surprised how close we can get. I'm like in the hundreds of feet range in some spots, up to, well, I don't know. I guess maybe up to like a quarter of a mile. Like, we're pretty close, and our cameras are fine as long as there's no anomalies. You know, and they have obviously restrictions on where you can and can't place cameras, but out here at Boca Chica, I think our cameras are all, safely away from the vehicle. I don't think there's a whole lot of concern about the cameras being destroyed. So that's good. That means we'll be able to cover it and bring it to you. And then Steven Stutler becoming a launch director member. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that support. Click the button. Thank you very much, Steven. Or Stefan, actually. I didn't notice the A. As a Steven myself, I've been called Stefan, and that's not right. But I think when there's an A, it's supposed to be either Stefan or Stefan, whichever you prefer. And Musical Wolves saying, will a mini chopstick tower be made to lift the ships to an SPMT after their static fire tests are complete to save time on stacking to the booster at the Cape?
Eh.
I don't think so.
You think they'll just use
it's
a crane?
easier. It's easier with a crane. I mean, you will need to have like a rolling chopstick tower, because once you take off the ship, right, you might need to move it or something. Or I think they did once with Booster 7. They moved it from the orbital launch mount to the structural stand, and it's decent distance away, and still like they didn't put it on a transport stand. They just hang in from the crane. It went all the way to the structural stand, and it was hilarious.
Oh, we're getting some more venting. Maybe we could switch to cam, see if we can get see if there's any detanking venting.
It's going pretty good. Yeah, go ahead.
It seems like in the past few weeks it's being a little bit stalled. They rolled out the 7th section of the tower, but it hasn't been stacked as far as I'm aware. Unless
Right.
now I say that, and now SpaceX is like lifting the whole thing with
Yeah, it could be.
just to make me a liar.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I was out at Playa Linda yesterday. I'm sure a lot of you watched
right.
our live stream of the astronauts flying around the Cape and flying by Pad 39B, where SLS is. And actually, if you saw my photo on Twitter, you can actually see the Starship tower in the background, which at first I was like, oh, I should probably just try to have the Starship or have SLS in there and not have the tower in the background. But then I'm like, wait a minute, they're both Artemis. There ain't no shame in having, other Artemis stuff in the background. So zoomed out a little bit and included that. But all that is to say, I don't think that they had put segment number 7 on top. I saw a crane with a line going down, so I think it might be or might have been connected. And that was yesterday morning, so that's quite a while ago in SpaceX time, and they could have easily stacked it. But I have not gotten a look today, and from a distance, it's really hard to tell. From the press site and from Playa Linda, you can count the segments. It's a little more difficult from Playa Linda because it's hard to see exactly where the base is. But from the press site at Kennedy, you can tell, and you can just kind of count, the segments and see how many are there. So, yeah, as far as we know right this moment, segment number 7 is still sitting on the ground next to the tower. But 8 and 9, if you saw our most recent flyover video, 8 and 9 are under construction at the Roberts Road facility. What is this?
That's an interesting vent. That's
Wow.
a vent from one of the nitrogen tanks at the tank farm.
Yep, I've seen that before. It's just an internal tank vent to relieve some pressure.
Yeah, it used to be the bull vent, but I think they changed that, and now it's more like a normal vent. It used to be like two vents and appear like a bull vent kind of thing.
Interesting. So that's you don't think that has anything to do with today? That's just sort of like a maintenance vent.
Well, it's usually done when spooling down, but it might not be a spool down completely. Again, we're holding up for some hope of recycling. So yeah, we'll keep watching anyways.
Yes. Always watching. Sean E asking, how much cargo and passengers can Starship carry to the moon, let's say? Cargo capacity or payload capacity. What do we got? What do we know?
I mean, they've said 100 tons before, but that includes, several refuelings. How many, we really don't know. But I would assume with the Artemis missions, it would be much, much less than 100 tons.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, and this, I think I queued this one up earlier before we really got into the SSTO thing. But can a Starship SSTO from Mars? I don't think that the booster was part of the plan for landing on Mars. And yeah, you're right. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plan is to single stage to orbit from
from
Mars. Oh, what do we got?
We have people, cars lined up at the roadblock, including the shuttle van, I think it is.
Oh.
Which is used to, yeah.
Does that mean they're about to open the road and they're gonna?
Well,
or not open it to the public, but to a few employees or something. What is that?
There you go. Yeah, you were right on that last one. That could be that. I mean, this is obviously speculation, but it could be they're opening it only for employees. We usually see that happening sometimes if they have to fix something on the pad, and they might try again some testing. But yeah, that does indicate something's up. It's not a good sign anyways, because
right.
If it is employees going to repair something or reset something, that's bad, because obviously something going wrong, which is fair. Like, this is testing, right? This is why we test and all of that stuff. But if it's the other option,
let's keep Starship in there.
Yeah, if it's the other option, obviously it means no testing today, which we don't like that.
Yeah.
No, don't go anywhere yet, folks. We have not called it yet. So we're gonna keep watching and see what happens. Feel free to keep throwing some questions up there. We've got some from like up to like 35 minutes ago down to 8 minutes ago. I'm still keeping an eye on the queue. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'm gonna grab this one. This one just came in. C. Burns, how many ears of corn can Starship hold?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
A better question is, how many kernels of corn?
Oh, don't even. Someone out there is going to be like, all right, so what's the mass of a kernel of corn? What's the volume of a kernel of corn? And it's just going to waste a night.
Or just on average, how many kernels of corn are on one ear of corn?
Oh, no.
And why do they call them ears? Who came up with ear? It doesn't look like an ear.
No, it doesn't.
And what's European bacon? Somebody please tell me. European bacon. Oh, man. But honestly, if you know, tag us at NASASpaceflight. I want to know. All right, we'll keep an eye on that road, on the road where they've got it closed, and we'll see if anybody drives past. That'll be sort of a big indicator for us. William Lydiard saying, how many liters of fuel does it take for initial startup of the thrusters? I think they mean engine. And part 2, what is fuel capacity max? That is an interesting question. How much fuel does it take just to start up the engine?
I don't think we know.
If they mean like, yeah, I don't think we know either, but like...
Yeah, not a lot.
Because there's an amount of time that, to get them up and running before they would, in a real life situation, before the pad would release the rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry, William. That's a really good question. We don't know. Do we at least know what the fuel capacity is that we can tell them?
It's 1,200 tons, so quite a lot.
All right.
See more cars going down the road, and I'm like, please turn to the right. There's another street to the right of that view. Ah,
Yep,
it's
and there
turning.
they go.
And Chris B in the back channel, I think trying to be helpful, but not really, saying European bacon, best bacon. Jack confirmed. Well, UK bacon. So I still don't know what it is. Is it a certain way of preparing the bacon? Is that what oven bacon is? Is that European
Maybe.
bacon?
I have no idea.
Huh. This is confusing.
He says better pigs.
They're pigs.
We've
I
got
mean,
the best pigs.
we have here in Spain jamón, that's really, really, I don't know, yummy? What's the word?
Delicious.
It's good. It's delicious. There you go.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to find that word in my brain. Brain tired now. Back to Starship.
Yeah, back to Starship, and also thanks to Drew Narceridis, I think is how you say it, gifting a Red Team membership. So keep your eyes peeled on your notifications or however that works, and
Nice.
you might be the lucky recipient of a Red Team membership. So thanks, Drew. And SpaceX News Daily asking, is there a Raptor vacuum engine version 2, or is that still on version 1? I was curious if all the Raptors needed an update.
It does seem like it is Raptor 2. Because we saw some kind of distant picture of it on some of these press releases by NASA on HLS updates and things like that. They had a tour of Starbase, and we saw a Raptor vacuum there, and it seemed different. Like even the extension, the nozzle extension, that was the word. The nozzle extension and like the plumbing and all of that seemed to be more of a Raptor 2 engine, and I believe we're seeing now the security Tesla arrive. Please go to the right, but
Go away.
yeah. Oh, it's going to the right. Nice. Oh well, it might not have been the security Tesla. It didn't have the lights. Might be just generic white Tesla at the Starbase.
Yeah, could be. All right, we've got a couple of updates on the European bacon front here. Dave Schneider saying they cut bacon from a different part in Europe. All right, that's given us some insight. And then what?
Cars moving.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
They're going to the pad.
Boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
Thank you.
Oh, that's the security Tesla. It was
There it
hidden
is.
from you.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Seems like, is the road generally closed to the public? I didn't see them move the barrier away.
Yeah, I think still closed to the public.
Yeah.
And we'd get well, I guess it's not always timely, but we'd get a text that says that it's open, right?
Yeah,
But
it's
that
usually
doesn't
not on
always
time.
happen like immediately. Yeah, I remember you
Yeah.
talking about that one day. It's like, it's not exactly right when it happened.
Again, it could also be, we always see employees going first before they open it to the public because they have to save stuff around the pad and things like that. But it could well be too that they're going to the pad to reset whatever they might want to reset for whatever testing they might want to complete today, or this might be just the end of testing for today. I will see. We're probably gonna stick around for a little bit more and see if there's any sort of signs of of them being done for today. Certainly not called for today, but yeah, not a good sign.
Well, if you need some cheering up, Breakneck Trent has a good way to cheer you up. Asking, with $11.11. It was super chat. I like that. How many stars would a starship ship if a starship could ship stars? So
Yeah.
ponder that,
Yep.
everybody. Hopefully that gives you a little chuckle.
Well, 0, right? Because Starship shipping stars,
I
we
don't think they'd
think
fit.
stars are a little bit larger. Yeah. I mean, the only stars that I can think of that might be able to fit on a starship, that will be something like a quark star or something like that, or a black hole directly,
Yeah.
because those
Yeah,
are
I was gonna say,
really, they can be
like,
small.
yeah, some small black holes are like not that big. Like they
Mm,
have the mass of a lot of stars, but they are
Mhm.
compressed into a very small container. No, not, I don't know if container is the word, but
they're usually very small. Like a neutron star is roughly the size of a city. So it's not, and they're usually the mass of the sun. So you have the mass of the sun in the size of a city. So if you compress it, let's say 100-fold, that might be something the size of a starship, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, we're seeing there.
That'd be weird.
I mean, astrophysics time here at NSF. We have had many astrophysics times before, but we've seen that the vehicles went to the suborbital side,
yeah.
so that's potentially a good sign.
It seems like the road is still publicly closed.
Yeah, it does look that way. All right. Let's see. I like this question. I hope you guys have some thoughts on this here. Jim John Jill, I think. Hey guys, what's your thoughts on the progression of engine technology? For instance, chemical moving to nuclear, aerospikes making a comeback, etc., etc. Do you have thoughts on them?
I think first off, the first part to address is that aerospikes are only useful in very specific applications. The main one really being single stage to orbit vehicles. So kind of like the X-33 proposal. That was a good application of aerospikes. Anything outside of that, really, I mean, aerospikes aren't bad. They're just not, perfectly optimized. They're a bit complicated. They're tough to engineer, expensive, and they've never flown on a vehicle before, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my thought. Alex, anything on like nuclear? Up to you.
Well, on aerospikes, I will say that probably on Earth they don't make sense, but on Venus, for example, might make more sense.
Oh,
If
okay.
we ever do a rocket there, that was my thinking, and also probably, I mean, Titan has also a thick atmosphere, but it also is like very low on gravity, so might not be needed to.
Mm-hmm.
As for the progression of engine technology, I will say that I'm not sure. We're seeing proposals and contracts for nuclear engines to be coming up next soon, and advances on ion technology as well, on ion engine technology. But so far, it's not really that breakthrough technology, if you want to put it that way.
All right. Yeah, and I have no thoughts. I'm just amazed that any of them work at all. Holden, I like this one. How do you feel about the Artemis 1 launch being so close? I am super stoked, personally, because I never got to see a shuttle launch, and I've heard tales of how impressive it was, and the experience is gonna be awesome. I just cannot wait, and to be able to be at the press site for it is just a complete honor. I mean, when I first moved down to the Space Coast a few years back, I didn't see that. That wasn't even in my brain that that would be a possibility, that I would be able to be that close to SLS when it was launching. So I just can't wait. I just have to stay focused on the task and try to get some good photos and also take it all in at the same time. I've heard, and I keep saying this to people, and people that saw the shuttle have confirmed it for me. I believe Chris G even has confirmed this for me. I've been told that if you have water in front of you, that you can actually see the shockwave affecting the water as it comes towards you, as the sound is rushing towards you, and that is. I'm trying to think of a way to try to capture that. I don't know. There's people out there that have high-speed cameras that that's really probably what you would want for something like that. But I mean, and that's just the launch. I mean, the fact that Artemis is getting underway and we're testing out the full system, sending Orion around the moon. It's like a 42-day mission. Like that's a super long mission, and we learned from I learned, I'm sure other people already knew this, but we learned from the press briefing the other day that Orion was certified for 21 days, but they're going to push the envelope and just see how it does with a 42-day mission. And I think that is totally awesome, because when you don't have people on board, that is the time to really push the envelope and see what your system is capable of. So I can't wait. I mean, it's just going to be cool. Like, oh, look at this shot. Look at the birds. Oh, love it. But yeah, the whole Artemis 1 mission is going to be awesome. But, right now it's hard for me to not just think about that launch. And, as many launches as I've seen, I don't know that there's another rocket that could put me, like, I don't know, give me the level of anxiety that I'm expecting to feel that day, because, I'm so used to Atlases and Falcons, and you kind of know what to expect, and you know how it's going, and for the most part, you assume that it's going to launch as long as there's not any like weather constraints. But with SLS, it's a brand new
Unless it's a
vehicle.
Delta.
Well, fair. But we don't see a lot of those. But yeah, it's going to be a lot like that, actually, because especially if you were around and watching our streams for the Enroll 44 mission, I believe it was, from the Cape. It was a Delta Heavy mission, and we went through like 4 or 5 scrubs on that, I think. And then, some attempts were separated by weeks or months, and it just took a lot of attempts to get that rocket off the ground. And they used the same fuel. There's hydrogen in both vehicles, so that I think that part
Yeah.
makes me nervous when, just because you're under a minute does not necessarily mean you're going to get a launch.
Yep,
But
it's very finicky.
yeah, very, very finicky. It has it's been explained to me that it has to do with hydrogen being such a small atom, right? Because it's hard to keep contained because it's such a small atom, and it can leak through the tiniest cracks, right?
Yeah, you're right. Is that more venting?
Sounds like it. Do we have it on any of our other cameras, Patrick?
And it stops immediately. There is still the engine vents, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know what
that's
to deal with that.
Well,
Yeah,
So
I'm
have we
curious.
seen where those where the workers popped up? I saw them go towards the suborbital pad, but I don't see them on this view. You guys spotted them
Hmm,
anywhere?
it's hard to see.
I can't see any right here. I mean, I would assume they wouldn't be getting too close to the vehicle if it's actively venting.
Hmm.
Hmm. All right. Well, while we watch, I know a lot of y'all in the chat, you guys are here for a lot of these streams, and you may, want to show some support, but you may want to have something tangible that you can hold in your hand or wear on your torso. Uh, Look at this. Yeah, look the road to
Near
Artemis.
wall.
I love this design. It's so cool. And then
Black
the
diamonds.
Yeah, or sorry, I almost said shock diamonds. The mock diamonds.
We were
Coffee
talking
cup.
about that earlier.
Yeah, so you can always go over to shop.nasaspaceflight.com. Look at this. This is really cool, and it's got little explanations
Ooh.
on there. It's so neat. But yeah, it's a way to show support, have something tangible. If you're a T-shirt collector, this is great. There's all kinds of spaceflight T-shirts out there, and
And
and I
the
like this Sunsea and
I
Starbase.
love the
This is
metal
beautiful.
prints too. I
Yeah,
believe Chris has always good words about that. He says, "Oh, this is amazing. I put it with magnets,
right.
with the accent
Well,
and everything. It's really amazing. I'm kind of joking here, but it is truly amazing. They are really good."
Yeah,
my
metal
favorite's
prints.
the
Oh, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say my favorite's the ship 24 is alive. I actually have that right on my wall in my college dorm. It makes a very, very nice decoration piece.
Oh,
Highly
look, and they've
recommend it.
got one of my Atlas V ones on there too. The
Yeah, you're there too.
right there. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's
That
a
Yeah,
was
that
an
was
wide
amazing
really
launch.
variety.
cool. It was sort of like a daytime streak because I knew that Atlas V, when it's got solids on there, it leaves a smoke trail, and a lot of us photographers, you guys have all seen them, that the streak shots, which are multiple minutes long. Oh, we got some venting going on. Is that just tank farm activity, or what is that?
I
I
believe it
don't.
is tank farm activity, but that
Yeah.
sounds more like overall tank farm activity. It's hard to see though from the other views that we have. I'm also looking at SBL, by the way.
Yeah, I forgot. I've got that open in another tab.
Yeah, see, we also have the camera views on SBL. We usually center here about where the action is, but you can also see more views. We will leave that open on the SBL feed on the Starbase Live 24/7 live stream. So if you can, you can also have that on another tab and watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, very helpful. Like if you're, I mean, it's a little more difficult to do if you're on mobile, but if you're sitting at a computer, you can just have multiple tabs open. You can have us talking in your ear, and you can also have Starbase Live going. You can also have McGregor Live or Fleet Cam going.
Yeah, I actually have a tab group just for all our live streams. Not kidding.
Oh yeah,
It's called NSF stuff. Oh no, actually NSF streams. There you go.
nice.
Fleet Cam, McGregor, Starbase. It's crazy.
Yeah, so be like Alex and make a tab group just for NSF streams.
Yeah, that's weird. That
We're
venting.
like, we're just like hunting for the vent. Where is that vent?
Where
I
is
think it's on
it?
the other side of the tanks.
Yeah.
I believe we do have the mic a little bit more closer to the orbital tank from this time around. So I was wondering that in that case because it was like that's too loud to probably be from the suborbital one. You never know, right?
Yeah. And even on this view, you can't really see where the workers went. I thought that we would see them poking around down there, around the base of the ship.
Yeah, I don't really see anything. I'm wondering maybe that's a GSE problem, or I know there's some, I guess like electrical bunkers on towards the right side of the camera behind that concrete wall, and there's some like electrical bunkers. Maybe something there.
Hmm.
Not sure.
All right. Let's hit a couple more questions. I know Ian is going to have to jump out of here soon, but can you hang around for a couple more minutes?
All good.
All right. I can't help but go silent when I hear the venting. All right. V-Pool. this is a question from a little while ago, asking, has Ship 24 lost any tiles?
I don't believe so, but I have not been keeping an extreme track of tiles anymore, sadly.
Yeah.
But it seemed that during the static fire test, there weren't any tile losses. I think there was one that cracked that I noticed, but apart from that, I don't think there's as many tile losses as there were on, like, say, Ship 20, which is a good improvement.
Yeah, it would be really cool if the dropping tiles thing was behind us, right?
Yeah, that might be good for when, you want to land your Starship and get your crew home and your payloads home.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's do some other questions. William Lydiard. How many metric tons of fuel does it take for initial... Oh, wait. We already... Oh, I think... Okay. I think same question, or basically same question from the same person there. Yeah, so we did answer that. And I don't even remember... What was it? 120,000 pounds or something crazy?
Yeah, 1,200 tons of fuel.
1,200 tons. All right. And Digital 101, will Starship be the new shuttle?
I guess.
Is that a
Oh,
loaded
go ahead,
question?
Alex.
My remark was going to be very short. I was going to say, if you ask Chris, he will tell you yes. It's like Shuttle 2.0 or something.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's at least
See,
in
he
my...
says yes on chat.
Yep. At least in my mind, I hope that it's going to be everything the shuttle was intended to be back in the 60s and 70s. Like, quickly reusable, safe, and cheap. I hope it can do all of those.
All right. Trash Monster saying, did any of you get your Artemis 1 ticket? Add your name onto the Artemis 1 USB.
I did, I think.
Yeah, it's been so long. I remember when the invitations went out to do that. I think I did it. I know I did it for Perseverance.
Hey, we heard
All
you, whatever thing was venting.
Whatever you are, we heard you.
It's like Ouija.
Okay, we have another very important comment here from Guffey, Scotland. To add some clarity to the bacon debacle, European bacon is from a different cut and is more meat than fat. We call U.S. bacon streaky bacon and isn't as popular as meat is good. All right. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, so the
Streaky
debate
bacon.
continues. Yeah, streaky bacon.
I'd be totally willing to try it.
I do
All
like
right.
low fat.
I mean, I like it with a lot of fat in it. I don't. That's. All right. Well, I think now is a good time to let Ian take a leave, and I guess do other things. What do you have? You have a life outside of commentating on these streams? Unbelievable.
Unfortunately, college takes a lot out of you, and it's just started back up. So.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining in, and have a good rest of your evening.
Yeah, it was great being here. I hope you see something cool, and have a great rest of your night, everyone.
You later.
See ya.
All right, Alex. Just me and you now.
Yeah, indeed. Now it's gonna be very, very intimate between us and the public, with that venting going on.
Yeah.
We're still trying to find it.
Yeah, we're looking. I'm guessing it's probably over on the orbital side where the mic is. Oh, wait.
Oh.
A minute. Wait
Load
a
open.
minute. The barrier is gone.
Well,
Oh, folks. Y'all know what that means. Road open to the public means they are done. Is there any chance, Alex, in your experience, have they ever opened the road to the public and then reclosed it again?
Not to my knowledge, at least maybe once, but I don't remember. I don't really remember. No, I'm trying to make memory of that, but no, I don't think so. So yeah, well, that's a pity. We haven't seen any testing today, but they tried. That's the intention.
Ian got out of here just in time, didn't he?
Yeah, he got out right in time.
Well, folks, you know we appreciate you coming along for the ride and being here and tuning in and listen to us wax poetic about American versus European bacon. It's still not 100% clear, but we do appreciate everyone trying to make it more clear. Streaky bacon, I guess, is what I eat. I do want to go through some remaining super chats because we definitely appreciate your support. We could not do this without y'all's support. We have John Pelmieri becoming a flight engineer member. Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
That's the highest level.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you very much, John. And another John. Oh, John Depker, the one whose name apparently I say correctly. Also upgrading to launch director. So wow, thank you very much. We definitely appreciate that. And then Blake Alexander with a cool $20 saying fat is good. Yeah, I mean, you know, I like steak with a lot of fat. I like my bacon with a lot of fat. It just tastes good. I like it. And with that, that's going to clear out our super chat queue. Thank you so much for joining us and for the support that y'all have shown us. And even if you can't support, you know, just watch the ad at the beginning. We definitely appreciate it. It helps. And so for now, I believe we're going to head on out of here and throw you over to Starbase Live so you can keep an eye on Ship 24 and Booster 7 and this beautiful sunset that's happening right now over in Boca Chica.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
The chamber pressure looks good. Toggling up. Rock and roll, Atlantis.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight downside SC off. Say again, SC off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.